to understand the philosophy behind SPB and what it has actually tried to achieve, rather than looking at it from a product perspective. I think that area is completely ticked. We have successfully implemented and initiated a product that works. But when we look at the larger picture that it tries to also address, it's very important to understand how much of a picture it actually addresses and what sort of an impact it has, for the country in general, or for waste in general, wherever it is, irrespective of country.
So, if you just convert those numbers of the resources saved in the next slide, if you see the quantum of cement, quantum of water, quantum of sand, the numbers are not small. So if you could go to the next slide for maybe please. Need a slide. So this does give you a picture of what could be the projected saving in aggregate cement. If I'm just looking at using the entire SPB into your blocks. This is the quantum we are talking about, which is the material which you are consuming from our natural resources, and this is the material which you are transporting using trucks and diesel. So,
SPB and the fact that it's a loam that can be molded, we have come up with 4 specific molds that have been developed in-house. The first one is the basic brick, which you will see on the top left corner of the square slide. Then we have the Lego brick. We are currently experimenting and working on a module to see if we can create a self-supporting structure without using any cement for bonding, and the fact that we have these cavities in between which can be used for running our conduits, and also it acts as an air barrier, therefore it is insulated. We also have the zigzag pavers. We have multiple versions of the paver tiles with several patterns on them. So these are the ones that are currently under production. Pilot project after creating, let's say, the first mold was to create a structure. So we have created a toilet in the premise, a functioning toilet for workers, where we exclusively use only SPB bricks for testing out a wall. So the bonding strength between each and every SPB brick is equivalent to a regular clay brick or AC block. It is still standing. There are no cracks, no surface cracks also. So there is no shrinkage and warpage in this case. And of course, there is no effervescence, which you typically see in a brick wall over a period of time.
And while we are looking at the standard building blocks, if you go to the next slide, we also experimented on using this as a base for value-added products. So we have a vocational school, and we collaborated with them to produce some with Anvisha Foundation on how we could use them to make tables and benches, so articles which could sit in the house as a consumer
end product plant. So we have been there. I mean, the Anvisha Foundation has been working with a lot of schools to provide them with a very, very low cost furniture or a little upgraded bench, furniture, table.
And I think the next photograph would address some of the questions about bonding and usability. So if you can go to the next slide, is the real application for construction and architecture.
So this is a picture of the toilet that was constructed with SPB 2 years ago, and this is a very recent picture that we had shot for the video by Anuj. And it's in a heavy water usage area, a lot of spillage here and there. SPB practically doesn't react to it. Future. We are looking at creating a module of 1.5 by 1.5 or 1.8 by 1.5, 6 feet by 6 feet structure that is made of Lego bricks. And then use this to basically create a self-supporting structure by itself. The idea is to generate these as a kit of parts to be donated to maybe a community or provided to a particular place where you can just lay them on the floor and build it on your own within 48 hours. The fact that it has the capacity to provide that air cavity in the middle, it will also go a long way in making sure that it is airtight and comfortable to stay within.
So as an engineer, Shridhar, I think if I were to give you something which could be pre-engineered. So today, I look at this brick from a very different perspective after having met a lot of people over 2 years. As this is a material which is between concrete and steel, where I would place it. So there are areas where we would be happy with the strength of a cement block, but we cannot. We need a little bit more strength than the red brick, but we are not able to have a shape which we desire, and so we use a casting or a steel. And one classic example would be if I look at the stormwater drain covers today, and I just imagine them as what would you prefer, a strong cast iron drainage cover, or you would prefer a concrete drainage cover which breaks?
Obviously a cast iron.
So if you are able to place this product in between that, which has no water absorption, no rust, no issue of being exposed to the climate, because cast iron also gets rusted, right?
Yeah.
And it's still economical as compared to a metal. So those are the ideas we would like to leave with architects or people who are in construction of not limit this material, consider this as a moldable material, not limit to a brick, and that's how we have conceived this interlocking brick, making a self assembled structure. Or you can look at a pre-assembled toilet block with your entire machining, means drilling of holes and putting the conduits, everything, and go and fit the entire thing without a skilled person at site.
Right. So some of the renders that you'll see in the next slide are basically trying to address, the immediate needs. There is so another fun fact, with every paver, we are recycling 25.
I think it's more than 25. We'll have to figure. I think it's 250 was the right figure when I started calculating, because it's about 1 kg of plastic packet.
Okay, so it is 250 then.
Yeah.
Okay. 250 plastic packets, which is more than an individual's fair share of eating chips throughout 4 months, I believe. So the next slide will take you through some of our intended uses of this particular structure with Lego brick. So if you were to just pass it to the community, one of the ideas was to use it like a weekend market or a flea market or something like that. Then the next slide, we could also use it like a gaushala.
Can you go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, and or it could become a public toilet that can be constructed out of this brick. And there's a gaushala representation. That's it from our side.
Yeah, thank you. So there was some question about the...
Yes. So we take up the questions modulus one by one. I hope it was a great session. Everybody have enough information about Silica Plastic Blocks. We have some questions to address. While I take up these questions, we have some more time. You guys can put up more questions if you want. I'm taking up questions. First question was sizes available in SPB, if you can mention.
So presently we have the products which are already developed and are in production. There is a 13-inch by 13-inch pivot tile. There's a standard zigzag pivot block which is same size as the concrete pivot block. These are the two key products which we are, and the brick of course is 9 by 4 by 3. So these three products are there, and other products which are under development at this moment.
We also have a plank which is about 1200 by 100.
4 feet by 4 inch by
15 mm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Our next question is: are you planning to coming up with interlocking bricks?
Yeah. So the last couple of slides were discussing that. We call them Lego bricks, but yes, they are interlocking bricks or blocks to come up with different shapes and forms.
So that would be a 13-inch by 8-inch by 6-inch single block.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, see, a lot of this is, please try and understand, because SPB in its inherent nature is moldable and can take whatever shape that one can think of. These are the ones that we have started to work on in-house. The discussion is open to architects. We have been talking to a lot of other firms, architects who have started to understand its capacity, maybe even take it in the parametric realm, because one of the biggest challenges that you get in trying to do a parametric shape is to how do you do the shuttering for it, because each one is different. So in our case, because we have a moldable system, we can rationalize it in such a way that with 2 or 3 molds we are able to come up with an interesting formation of a shape.
Right. Okay, moving on to the next question. I think Mr. Manish had already addressed this question, but still, if there's any highlights, how is the laying of SPB blocks, and is it the same for brick and concrete blocks?
Yeah, it is the same.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay. What about the bonding material? Have you specified anything about that?
No,
And
there
if
is
Bonding, there are 2 ways of doing bonding. One is the conventional cement, concrete, cement and sand, which we have been using for this. Another way is, because it is it can be drilled, machined. We have made bolted spools out of this. Means we can bolt it.
Okay.
There's a flexible bonding arrangement where you can dismantle and reassemble. And the third would be the interlocking brick, which would be friction bonding without cement and sand.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Agna. Next is, what if we need a half brick?
The way you cut a tile, you cut a brick.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. What you do for cutting a tile is use that machine. Similar machine can be used for the cutting the brick.
Moving on to the next question. Have you tried the different proportions of dust and plastic waste? How did you arrive to this proportion of 80 and 20%?
So yes, this is one of the very important R&Ds we have done. We have started from 10%. We have done tests from 10% to 50% of plastic. We have tested with different kinds of plastic: polypropylene, polyethylene, LDP, SDP, PET combinations, multi-layer plastics. So there's a huge range of research across different plastic waste. As well as we have also tested with dust beyond foundry. So we have taken tests with quarry dust from the stone cutting industry. We have done tests with steel plant dust. We have done tests with friction material, grinding wheel manufacturers dust. So this all has happened because we have a pilot R&D facility, and we conduct the test to the strength analysis. Basically, we do the compression strength, which is the primary need for construction. When we start to, so today, like we had a discussion with one of the persons that we want to engage with us. So we collect the data of what kind of input materials are there. We get into a agreement. We do a testing in our facility before we arrive at what kind of machines and proportions are to be used.
Okay.
And in this particular process, we have a gentleman who's also joined us as part of this seminar, Mr. Rajnikant, who's been the backbone of the entire R&D facility.
Oh, okay, great. Hi, I'm so sorry I've not addressed this before. Anything from your side, Rajnikant, if I'm not wrong, you can please add up if you want to say it.
Okay. We share what doesn't work also.
Yeah. So the 80-20 diagram itself is a reinforcement of the fact that, you know, SPB works with this particular magic mix.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the next question. But obvious, since the word is plastic, silica plastic, so the question is about fire resistance. Can you explain a bit about the fire resistance property?
So fire resistance comes into play the moment. Yeah, Manish, go ahead.
No, you can explain this.
So I'm interested in the question because it's the most obvious question, but then one needs to understand that we are addressing it from the perspective of using it outside first. Fire resistance is a very, very important subject, and we are still conducting several tests to rest assure a lot of our own apprehensions. So as of now, we are actually promoting only most of this product as an infrastructural setup and not so much an interior product. However, for those of us who would like to question the fire resistance of this particular material, I want to ask them, have we not been using wood in our house? Have we not been using plastics or ABS, UPVC? All of these are, you know, not fire resistant. So in that realm, SPB will also be a particular product that sits in our house. However, I would still think that, you know, we must put a lot of these questions to rest. So we are conducting tests at the moment, several tests to reinforce this and address this issue.
Okay. Next question is, can I know the Young's modulus, elastic modulus, density and Poisson's ratio?
Yes, sir, definitely you can know them as soon as we get our results from the testing. We will be more than happy to share them. In fact, a lot of our tests results are shared on our website, and as and when we continue to do our testing, we put it out on the website for everybody to see and take note of.
Okay, and the next question is about the heat absorption. How is heat absorption capacity of the material?
Again, Biloni, this is also part of one of our tests. We are awaiting a lot of these data to be broadcast out there. I can say the fact that it is, well, when you do your home tests, for example, it is definitely not heat absorptive. And we've done a lot of these, but I wouldn't call them lab tests. A lot of the home tests that we do, just because, you know, they give quick satisfaction and quick results for us to step forward and take this to the next level. So we've done a test with, say, dry ice, for example. We put the block in a insulated box of dry ice and left it for until the dry ice melted out. Dry ice, as we all know, is at minus 70 degrees. After the very instance that the dry ice got evaporated, we took it and did a drop test from 30 feet high, and nothing happened to that particular product. So we then passed it on to one of our friends who has an ice cream factory and asked them to put it in the deep ice storage to see what are the impacts of it, because generally materials tend to crack when they come under such extremely low temperatures. Again, no impact to this particular product. So these are results that have encouraged us to take it to the next level.
So there is one more test which of course it's not a measurement. We have made stools for sitting for people who are stitching in a garment factory, and we replaced wood with the tile, and they found it cooler than the wood. It would not absorb heat. That's how we found it. Of course, we don't have a test kit.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of tests don't comprehend these particular effects that we are so curious about trying to understand. So our home remedy tests team seem to address those. But again, it has to be data driven, and we must have proper results from tests. So we have around 3 to 4 tests that are currently being taking place on the SPB for us to be able to share them with everybody, hopefully soon. One of the reasons why we are testing it more on the cold side is because we do see a lot of potential for SPB in high altitude areas, especially for the army, to see if they can quickly deploy a particular shelter or a bunker and then sort of dismantle it fairly quickly. At this point of time, conventional concrete or insulated PEB structures are not really helping because of the temperature difference during the day and night.
Okay. The next question is, can you paint it, right?
Yes.
I think
absolutely.
We have shown you photographs of stools which have been painted. So yes, it can be painted.
In a month's time, we will be installing a beautiful piece of screens that we have come up with the plank. And we'll be happy to share them on the website so that you can see what it looks like.
Okay, Hardik has one more question. He's asking about the capital investment in the project.
That you can connect on the email ID, because we need to. Capital investment is related to what you want to produce and how much you want to produce.
On the same lines, Manish, can you just tell us about, I think we were discussing this before also. So how does one get this product on site? How do you buy this product, since you guys are not, there are no vendors or sellers out there?
So we are now, we have set up the business model. We have got three manufacturers who are producing it. One is in Ahmedabad, which is industry. One is in Guntur. So just startup has started. Another one is waiting for their pollution clearance. It is in Anand. So before putting the product out for commercial use, it is important to establish the commercial sustainability exercise, whether the product is viable or not, which is addressing the capital investment. So we are not looking at capital. We are saying that anything which we produce from SPB, the payback should not be more than 3 to 5 years. And based on that, these products are good, and it should be affordable to it should be competitive with what is available in the market, and that's why we made that competitive. We drew the brick for the moment, because why would somebody buy a brick at 30 rupees when you are getting a brick at 10 rupees? We understand that part, and I think we are now ready with our proposal where we would be setting up such plants across the country, and they would be supplying the plants. So as they get into production, Shridhar is working on a website where these manufacturers' products could be accessible, or they could connect with you.
Or we could use Arkihive to help us propagate that. So once we set up a distribution system, we will be happy to share that with you so that you can populate it on your website, portal, or app.
Yes, we'd be happy to do that for you.
The other clarion call that I would like to put forward to all our fellow architects here who have joined us is to suggest what you want. You suggest what shape you want, what form you want, what can you think, what can you imagine, with the SPV, and we will be happy to partner with you and work with you in terms of making sure that it becomes a reality.
So I would extend this to make it very specific. If you are able to cover, let us say, 80,000 square feet of paver tiles in a year in your region, it will be our job to find an entrepreneur who would install that plant in your region. You give us so the entire project works on demand-driven ecosystem. And since we are consumers as architects and we understand the green sustainability, using 100% waste, so we need to work in collaboration where if there's a demand, we can over a period of 6 months set up a facility which can give you the production once you have a commitment on the other side.
I think Arkihive is already playing a role in collaborating business opportunities. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next question is: does it require to be wet before masoning?
No.
No.
No water used.
Okay. Another question from Miloni: from where do you source the plastic waste? From any particular waste management company or have? Miloni, would you like to elaborate on the question? Because
No, I understand that question very well.
Okay.
This is the problem which we have addressed. So we have moved away from collecting waste from the ULBs or local bodies into direct collection from source. So, in Anand, we have been able to mobilize communities to where, for example, we have got IRMA, NDDB, residential colonies where women groups have come forward, and in a month they will collect 160, 200 kgs of plastic, and we send our tempo to collect it. So we have built that ecosystem. Anvesha Foundation, which is our startup initiative, which is its role is to bring this community. At the same time, once the project becomes gets into the pollution control board license and everything is done, the plastic sourcing can happen through the EPR, the extended producer responsibility, and then there's no quantity issue. And so that system could be channelized where you can, the idea over here, once again, going back to the basic, is build a local ecosystem where the people who are generating waste goes into processing directly without adding cost of collecting, dumping, segregating, washing, and then again using. So remove all those 3-4 elements, and that's the model and that's where we can help any of the people who want to set up in their region, come in to them the solutions which we have worked on making this process.
There's also other pilot projects that we are working in 2 different cities where we are tying up with a school. The school is already running a waste segregation program, but they are not aware of what happens when the waste actually leaves their premises. So this is where we want to come into the picture and say that you give us your waste and we will give back to you SPB that can be used in the school premise for whatever infrastructural needs that they may have, or they can donate it to the community nearby, whoever they are helping up.
Okay. The next one is the product tested for indoor air quality? Anything on the indoor air
That's
quality?
a very good question. Like fire, this VOC testing is also interlinked. So all of these are still going through tests and we are awaiting results.
Okay. Okay, there's one question. In Rhino website, there's a donation for plastic. So what kind of plastic can one donate in this?
So if you see the presentation again and whatever I've communicated, 4 types of plastic: polyethylene, polypropylene, PET, or multi-layer plastic. These are LDPE, SDP. These are the plastics which we are able to consume, and even 100 grams of plastic. Whoever is donating plastic, we add their name to our website, and they can go and see how much they have donated over the last 1 year, 1 month. So no size, quantity, or location. But slowly we'll move this model to city-centric or district-centric ecosystem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a great initiative, yeah. This is something I think we need to donate the waste. Okay, next question is by Sai. What is the process of remolding a final block to different form?
What does that mean? You want to destruct and reconstruct?
I'll repeat it. What is the process of remolding a final block to different form?
So there are two ways. One is, I think what I understand is, when I deconstruct, what we do is we crush it again, make it granular, again put it back into the extruder and take whatever form we want to take. So that would answer that question.
Okay, Sai, I hope that answers your question. If you want to elaborate, you can unmute and ask the question again.
No, that answers my question. Thank you.
Great. Okay, one question from Deepak. Is this block are these blocks economic comparative to others?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
You put it the other way around. The moment somebody says it is competitive, I'll ask what is it that you are buying, and allow us an opportunity to see if we can the economic perspective.
Okay. I think Agna has to say something, maybe like a suggestion. So he's saying you can come up with hollow blocks with interlocking system where the bonding material usage is reduced.
I think that's what we already addressed.
We call it Lego block or interlocking block. It's similar. It's a cavity in between with 4 pegs that lock between each other.
Okay. So guys, you can ask questions for like another 5 more minutes. Till then, I'll just guide you to the slide that you're seeing. These are our contact details for Arkihive as well as Rhino and Artist D Studio. So anytime you guys want to reach out to us for SPB also very soon, I'm expecting. And for other things also, these are our contact details. You can reach out to us on Instagram, YouTube as well for all our previous events. And we are up for any more questions, guys. You can put it in the chat session. This was a great session though. I think we've answered like all the questions. We can wait for like 5 more minutes.
See, in terms of testing, I also want to point out that there are green ratings that we are trying to get certified for, so that we have a LEED rating, we have an IGBC rating, and we have a GRIHA rating for the product. So architects who are looking at sustainable products to use in their buildings, they will be soon be able to use SPB. The other thing that we are also trying to do is to identify carbon credits that one would get if they were to use. So we are in the process of engaging an auditor to quantify this thing. So if there are larger players in the audience who are looking at seeing if they can be used in the industry level, then carbon credits will get into the picture.
Yeah, so Divya is saying that it would be great if we receive a PDF or image with material specification. Yeah.
Everything is on the website.
There is downloadable material as of now. As we are further going to get more and more results, we will be putting it up on the website for downloads.
You have all the contact details. Also, after this session, if you guys have any doubts about SPB, please reach out to us, or you can directly reach out to both of them as well. We will address those questions on your mail.
So, thank you so much, Arkihive team, for hosting us. And,
great to have you. It was a great session. Thank you so much for joining. We hope to have much more interesting sessions like these, and please stay tuned with us. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.